So we'll start with Mr. Korkare, who is from Enpro. And so I'll hand over to, sir, we'll keep it for 10 minutes. And
Sure. So, good afternoon. The title of today's workshop is Actionable Plan for Sustainability. And so far we have seen a lot of plans, very little of action, other than what our friend Praveen has presented. So I'd like to share some actions which our company has taken in the field of sustainability. So just as an introduction, we are a first generation family business, in business for last 35 years. Our core competency is in the manufacture of mechanical fuel systems and process equipment, and we're a preferred supplier to all international companies in the oil and gas and power fertilizer field. Globally, we export over 80% of our production to over 45 countries, and 30 years of experience in design of lubrication and lubrication systems, etc. Strong engineering team and a world-class manufacturing facility. These are the three verticals in which we are operating. So sustainability as a business activity has come to Enpro only very recently, because we are also in the sustainable field in terms of our products. We make gasification systems, pyrolysis packages, electrochemical hydrogen compression systems, and other pilot plants related to that. Others are more traditional and absolutely brick and mortar businesses. So coming to sustainability at Enpro, we've just built a new corporate office. So some of the questions which Ajay was raising is those are the questions which we asked ourselves and while designing and building this office building. So do we need air conditioning or do we need comfort? I think we need comfort, so we went for alternate air conditioning. So I'll talk about more about it later. It's a LEED Platinum rated green building, only the third of its kind in India and first in Maharashtra. LEED Platinum certified by USBGC. So 100% fresh air circulation, and we have focused on employee comfort and well-being. In terms of power consumption, we produce 80% of the power required by our factory and almost 60% of the power required by office through solar rooftop PV installation. So in total, about 63%, about 70% of our energy consumption is produced by solar photovoltaic. While designing the office building, we have tried to, again, the question whether we need tube lights or do we need light, and we of course need light. So we've maximized the daylight intake of the building without having any direct sunlight coming into the building. So it reduces the heat load but maximizes the daylight. Then the cooling strategies, we have adopted a direct indirect evaporative cooling system, so which allows for 100% fresh air as opposed to just 10% fresh air in a conventional air conditioning, but reduces the energy consumption by almost 60%. And the other cooling strategy that we have used in the lower part of the building is something called as earth air tunnel heat exchangers, which uses the heat, the temperature of the ground about 12 feet below the surface is the average temperature of the region. So in summer it is cooler, so it gives a cooling effect. So we pump air through a system of tunnels in the foundation, and then it is circulated in the office area. So you get natural cooling practically without any power consumption. And of course we don't use any uh, you know, harmful environment, this thing, so the greenhouse gases for the air conditioning. So this is some view of the direct indirect evaporative cooling. So here, this kind of a cooling system can be very effectively used in majority of the parts of our country where the climate is dry and hot. So it's not so effective on the coastal areas, but rest of the areas where the climate is dry and hot during the summer, you can use this, and with about 26 degrees, which is a really ideal comfort level with a little bit of humidization. So excellent alternative for air conditioning. It really gives very good employee comfort. So the feeling is like if you were to sit under a neem tree on a hot afternoon. It's very, very comfortable and definitely much more energy efficient.
So what was the humidity level in the outgoing air?
So I think it's around 30% or so, very comfortable. So this is slightly different than a normal desert cooler where the humidity comes to close to 100% or more than 80%, and then you have perspiration even if the temperature is lower. Here part of the air is cooled by direct evaporation, rest of it is cooled by indirect method. So you get lower temperature but moderate humidity. So this is about the earth air tunnel. Below in the foundation, when you construct the building, you have to lay the concrete pipes through which the air is circulated before it is pumped into the building. And then some of the water strategies, both the factory as well as the office are 100% rainwater harvested. So all the rainwater that it precipitates is harvested and put into the ground, and also used for our daily use. Drip irrigation, use of aerators to minimize the water, dual flush, and rainwater harvesting. Again, all the wastewater is completely recycled for irrigation purposes and flushing purposes. So both office as well as the factory are zero discharge facilities.
How big is the factory?
Factory is about 250,000 square feet of constructed area, and so about 13 acres of land. And so there are other features like low flow fixtures, etc., to minimize the water consumption. And this is some of the landscaping inside the office building. So there is a lot of greenery inside the office as well. Some more thing about the energy performance of the company. So in the design of the office itself, we have built a lot of energy reduction. For example, the lighting envelope reduces the energy consumption by about 15%. Energy efficient artificial lighting and controls further reduces it by 24%, and HVAC reduces by 59%. So generally, as opposed to a conventional building, we consume almost 70% less energy. Pardon? Yeah. So other sustainable initiatives, we encourage cycle to work. So myself as well as the other directors come on cycle. There are about 50 people who commute to cycle on a daily basis, and we provide incentives for coming to work on cycle. So they get a free meal coupon whenever they come to work on cycle. We encourage use of electric vehicles, so there is a free charging, electric charging available in the office. and also some electric scooters. Some sports facilities. It's a platinum rated building, as I told you. So our ambition is to become net zero by 2025, which is more aggressive than most of the corporates around the world. And we are pretty much on track to achieve that. And we will be paperless by 2024. We're almost there as we speak. So, and these are some of the social projects. So we are also active in the same area where 14 trees is situated. So it gives many opportunities for collaboration, which I am sure will happen moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Who is the architect?
So the architect is Tushar Angarajan, landmark design. And the earth system we talked about, that was designed by an IIT alumnus from IIT Delhi, no, IIT Madras actually. But he did his PhD on this subject in Terry.
What is your motivation to have this kind of?
So the motivation, one thing is that we are an environmentally sensitive organization, but motivation is not really very altruistic. We have saved money in each and every of these initiatives.
So I wanted to ask you, so when you have this scope 1 and scope 2,
Yeah.
so for auditing of your carbon, do you take professional help or do you do it in house?
Well, we have a professional as our deputy managing director, and he's going to take over the leadership. So he is a trained energy engineer. So he's done energy engineering from IIT Bombay, and then a master's in renewable technology from Ecole Polytechnic.
So as of now, you showed only scope 1 and scope 2. Are you also planning for scope 3?
Scope 3 is really not practical for us to attempt, so because we have a very diverse supply chain, and to ensure that all of supply chain falls in line is not within our means. So we'll be realistic about it.
Okay.
Just one more question. You mentioned about the glass and the lighting and so on.
Yeah.
Did you use any different materials in the actual building structures?
So a lot of the building material was recycled. For example, we used fly ash, bricks, etc. So when we had targetedly platinum rating red since we conceptualized the building. So they have a system of points on how you source your material, how you do your construction, and all of those water conservation, etc. So we tried to tick as many boxes as possible. And so, while glass was not a very environmentally friendly material to use, and we had a lot of glass facade, we did use double glass to minimize the heat input, and also did some innovative shading of the glass so that to minimize direct glass, direct sunlight into it.
So you mentioned the term net paperless. So is there offset in paper consumption also, like we have net?
I really doubt. I mean, we are paperless, practically speaking, right now. So.
Because you had put up the word net paperless, not just paperless.
Yeah, so there is some paper which we cannot avoid. For example, some packaging and of our inputs as well as some of our shipments. So there are some offset will have to be done. I am really not aware in what manner that offset will be done. My son will be able to answer that better.
And you also mentioned that this investment has paid for itself,
Yeah.
the savings that you have. So it is in spite of all the incentives that you are giving to your employees for this
Yeah, incentives are paying off in terms of their better health. So if they travel on cycle, definitely it makes for a more active employees.
That's also not altruistic.
It's not interesting.
Saves on your medical bill and insurance.
So thank you so much.